or get a group together and just wail on these like giant world bosses. Just wail on these like giant world bosses.
You what?
At the Xbox and Bethesda showcase, we got a new reveal for Diablo IV. It included a new class, the Necromancer, being revealed, as well as a gameplay overview, and it looks fantastic. The only issue is the fact that we all have trauma over Diablo Immortal, so I don't think any of us really know what to expect from this experience. Obviously, the gameplay looked pretty darn impressive, but as we saw with Diablo Immortal, that could be easily ruined with some horrendous monetization. Blizzard, though, on their part, have already began making promises, the right ones, in regards to how they will handle this next mainline Diablo game. The only issue with that is that it comes amidst the Diablo Immortal disaster, which that experience also received many empty promises before it finally released about a week ago, and it just continues to get worse, as it has once again been exposed for some downright shameless and manipulative secret design choices. Let's get into it. Over the last year or two, Blizzard has been in the spotlight for all of the wrong reasons. We had the Blitzchung controversy. We've had the California lawsuits, which exposed some serious systemic issues happening at Blizzard. We also had the launch disasters of Diablo II Resurrected and Warcraft 3 Reforged. But most recently, it's because of Diablo Immortal, their pay-to-win mobile experience that kind of everybody expected was going to be pay-to-win, but Blizzard just went ahead and did it anyway, which is kind of astonishing. You know, everybody had a negative reception to this when it was announced, and they still ended up ruining it. Because I'll say this, the gameplay experience of Diablo Immortal isn't bad, it's actually pretty darn good. The problem is all of that goes to waste when you have all of these microtransactions that pretty much makes it impossible for a free-to-play player to win at this game. That's the best way to put it, especially when there's PvP involved in this. And we're going to be touching a little bit more on the microtransactions because while I discussed mostly legendary gems last video, there's been a lot more research in my own experience with this, and there's just so many more angles at this from which this is indeed pay to win. But what's very interesting about this is that the Metacritic review scores for Diablo Immortal have gone south. Now, what do I mean by that? The original score, which we discussed last video, was around 80 on Metacritic. Now it's around 60 to 70. A lot more mixed reviews coming in, and those mixed reviews are touching on microtransactions. The ones that came before, I guess they uploaded their reviews before even touching on the microtransactions. They got access to it before Blizzard implemented it. And I understand some people defending this, but we're at a point where mobile games and live services, you just have to understand that this is what publishers are going to do. EA infamously does this almost every single year with FIFA. And still those reviews are there day one, and I just find that kind of foolish at this point. I feel like these reviewers are being tricked or just not caring, but in this regard, the Diablo Immortal has gone down to about a 60, a lot more mixed reviews coming in, but on the user side, this game is just getting destroyed. It actually has a Metacritic record for the worst game ever reviewed from users. It has a 0.2 out of 10, and that is just kind of astonishing, but it shows how upset the Blizzard community is with this experience. There's around 1,100 reviews on the PC review page for Metacritic for Diablo Immortal, and 609 of them, which actually have written reviews for it, are negative, while only 15 are positive. And from my own experience, this is a really fun for a mobile game. It's just such a shame all of this goes to waste because of Blizzard's greed.
But you're feeling confident that no matter what it is, players won't be annoyed by the monetization of this game.
Well, you know, we want to make a great game, and we'll be following its development, and we'll figure out what makes the most sense.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
And I hope everyone watching understands that this has been a success for Blizzard. They are rolling in cash. According to App Magic portal statistics, the novelty has already earned over $5 million. This was just in the first day or two. The US makes 44% of the purchase in the game, while South Korea is 20%. Germany and Japan follow with a big lag with 7% each. The mobile industry is rolling in cash. They make billions every single year, and that is exactly what Blizzard wants in on. And there's a very good chance that Blizzard's not going to say shit about this controversy. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to continue to roll in cash because they don't care about their reputation. And honestly, this is why Microsoft needs to get involved, because the decision makers, the management at Blizzard, well, they're looking at individuals such as this guy. New Zealand currency spent over 10,000. He didn't even get one 5-star gem, which, oh boy. And then we have other individuals. This is an image that's been circulating around social media, and just looking at this alone, you can tell this individual is a mega whale, probably spent $10,000, $20,000 just on this character alone. Look at all of that inventory of legendary crests, just a couple thousand sitting right there. It's remarkable the psychological manipulation that happens in the mobile industry. Also, there is really one important detail that I think a lot of people are not understanding about this whole ordeal, and it's the fact that Blizzard knew that this reception was going to come. That's why we have not seen any reversal on these microtransactions or any announcement that they're going to change anything. Actually, in recent days, we've had the lead director, the game director on Diablo Immortal, pretty much fighting back against accusations that they lied and misled people about this experience. We had Wyatt Cheng on June 4th referring to the criticism that they're receiving around legendary gems and legendary crests as misinformation. Yeah, that is their view on this. They said before launch that they would not be selling any gear in their shop, but what they didn't say was that there was going to be gems that you can attach to the gear which have gameplay boosts, gameplay effects, and the only way you can get the best of these gems is by paying up. And it's not paying just $100 or $1,000, it's paying $20, $30, $40,000 and playing the game of luck. That is misleading. That is exactly what Blizzard is doing. They lied to people. They misled. This isn't misinformation. It's pretty blatant pay-to-win nonsense, and there's a reason why Blizzard was very quiet about this greed. And just so everyone understands, Blizzard is not backing down. They do not care. They've seen the outrage, they've seen the protests, and they've rejected it. The best example I can give is their recent social media post, in which they celebrated 10 million installs, and Wyatt Cheng, the game director, saying, "Super exciting to see millions of players having fun in the game. Wonder how many uninstalls they actually have." There's no note to the big outrage surrounding the game. All of the articles being written because this was the game plan from day one. They knew this was going to happen, and they do not care because the money is rolling in, and that is all that matters. I know that a lot of fans of Blizzard have been holding out hope that Diablo IV will not suffer the same fate that Diablo Immortal has, but unfortunately, some recent job listings has indicated the opposite. As reported by GameRant, a recent job listing suggesting that Diablo IV could also feature an ungodly amount of monetization. And there's also rumors right now that this game could be releasing in the early half of 2023. And if that happens, that's probably before Microsoft even owns Blizzard and before they can end this nonsense. The listing in question, which is for a product manager for Diablo IV, says that the successful candidate will play a critical role in managing the Diablo IV in-game store experience, which is described by the listing as a key component of the game's seasonal content strategy. Whoever gets the job will also be responsible for identifying sales trends and quantifying purchase behaviors, as well as using tools to configure prices and availability within the in-game store. Now, do I think it's going to be as pay-to-win as Diablo Immortal is? Probably not, but there's definitely going to be a bunch of monetization and probably a bunch of BS we'll be talking about in a number of months. This is the future of this industry, and right now the mobile game industry specifically is more of like a Wild West. Tons of loot boxes, tons of pay-to-win nonsense, and this AAA games industry has been trying forever to get this to carry over to console gaming and PC, and that wish may be coming true in the near future. But maybe that won't be the case with Diablo 4, at least according to the community lead for Diablo, which revealed on Twitter today that Diablo 4 is coming out as a full-priced game built strictly for PC console audiences. The game is huge and there will be tons of content after launch for all players. Paid content is built around optional cosmetic items and eventually full expansions. We will be sharing more information soon. Actions speak much louder than words. We'll have to see what happens with Diablo 4 in the future, because we've seen numerous live services in the past make promises beforehand and then just end up forgetting or not caring about that afterwards. So hopefully Diablo 4 holds onto this promise of just cosmetic items, because Diablo 4 looks like a great gameplay experience. It looks truly next gen. It looks like the ultimate Diablo experience I've been waiting for a very long time. It's just after Immortal, a lot of uncertainty with the future of this franchise and company, but this is definitely encouraging to hear, especially following that concerning job listing. But in regards to Diablo Immortal, this is an experience that I've actually made to the end game. I didn't pay a nickel to get there. I think I'm Paragon level 6, but I've reached a point where it's pretty much game over for me unless I open up my wallet. There's a legendary crest. You need those legendary crests, which are only available by pretty much opening up your wallet, and you use those legendary crests to play the game of chance. You complete a dungeon, and then you have a 0.05% chance of getting the best gems in the game, which support amazing gameplay boosts for your character, which makes PvP and PvE very easy. But something that has not been discussed is charms, the charm system. This is, again, another pretty much loot box. These charms essentially are gameplay boosts for your skills. If you upgrade a charm to level 5, it likely will have boosts for skills you do not own. So like it'll have plus 2% damage to sprinting for a wizard, but you may be a barbarian, so that doesn't work out. So how do you change those skills to the ones that you possess? Either you do an endless grind, which could take maybe hours, months, year, it could take a very, very long time. And then there's also the other option, which is a long process of playing the game of RNG with a premium currency. And we're not talking, again, spending a couple $100. You're going to end up spending thousands of dollars. That is the design. That is what Blizzard intended here. So if you want to get your perfect character, there's just numerous areas in which you're playing with loot boxes. That is the basic truth with Diablo Immortal, and what is so evil about this design, and why Blizzard deserves all of the anger and all of the outrage that they are receiving at the moment. In a recent Blizzard interview with, again, Wyatt Cheng and another Blizzard developer, they mentioned that this is a complete free-to-play game. We don't sell XP boosts. We don't sell gear, kind of a lie. We don't want to circumvent those parts of the game. We want to make sure that the best way to progress your character is always going to be to play the game. Now, the issue with that is that there's evidence that there are hidden caps for free-to-play players, which basically just says playing the game ends up being pointless at a point because Blizzard made specific design choices to persuade players into spending money or preventing them from progressing too far into the experience or getting too good at the game. Because Blizzard, again, wants you spending thousands of dollars on this bullshit. As noted in an article coming from Forbes, there was a video recently done from EchoHack, a YouTuber, also a player with over 1,200 hours in Diablo Immortal already between all of the alphas, betas, and now the live release. What he discovered was that eventually the blacksmith upgrades become directly tied to your Paragon level, which again, there is just multiple moments within the later stages of this game in which there are level gates. But in this specific instance, as in, you cannot go from rank 7 to 8 on an item or 8 to 9 without hitting a specific Paragon level at max cap, which was not the case in the alphas and betas in the game, but because there's only so much XP you can even grind in a day, this becomes a time gate on the road to the ultimate max of level 20. But then we get into the hidden caps, and this is what this YouTuber and his friends discovered. After 6 legendary drops a day, your drop rate severely decreases for future drops. After a group bonus for 6 normal gems a day, your drop rate severely decreases. Side quests stop giving rewards after 5 per day. Purple bosses stop giving rewards after 5 per day. Random map events stop giving rewards after 5 per day. These Zoltan cool treasure rooms are limited to 5 per day, and hidden lair dungeons stop giving gem rewards after just a few completed sections. And as Forbes' Paul Tassi points out, the problem becomes, since all of these caps are hidden, players will find themselves at diminishing returns and basically just playing the game for absolutely no reason and not knowing it. That is evil, and that is Blizzard's intended design. So how do I end this story other than just saying that this is a disgrace and Blizzard can really go fuck themselves? I don't really know. I'll just give them a round of applause for pulling off this fucking greed. Like, really, there's nothing else I can say other than the fact that people really should boycott this and be extremely worried about the future of Blizzard, especially if Microsoft continues to take this hands-off approach. Because there are concerns with Diablo IV, there should be concerns with Overwatch 2, and Blizzard has just, I don't know what has happened to this company the last couple of years. It has just turned into an absolute disaster, and you can't blame all of this on Bobby Kotick, but the fixation on monetization in this industry is a problem, and is going to continue to be a problem. I have been sounding the alarm on loot boxes and saying that this is not going away, and I fear that the Star Wars Battlefront 2, the next disaster like that in console and PC gaming, is something that will garner a reaction that we're seeing right now from Blizzard, which is pretty much a shrug and saying we don't give a shit, because that is the message that Blizzard is sending, and that is not a good one, especially when they just don't seem to care about why people are upset. Capitalism, baby. I mean, that is what's happening here. They have to keep making more and more money, and these companies see the easiest way of doing that is just with pay-to-win nonsense, not about creating an enjoyable experience, because that is secondary to making money for shareholders and investors. They do not have an obligation to make a fun game for you. They just have to make a game that is pretty much addicting to you. And with Diablo Immortal, it is working right now. Let's just hope that's not something that we're saying about Diablo IV in the next number of months or maybe a year or two. On that note, and before I do end this video, I just wish to say something very quickly, and it's the fact that I critique video games. This is something I've done the last number of years. It does get frustrating that I have to keep repeating myself because this AAA games industry just keeps repeating the same mistakes over and over again, mostly the same companies. And I get it, some people seem to have this fixation or want of me to be positive about gaming. Why do I not do all these positive stories? There's a bunch of creators out there. There's a lot of content creators that do that. My specific, I guess you could say, purpose, especially this channel, is just pointing out a lot of the greed, a lot of the nonsense happening. And I get it, some of the thumbnails are over the top. I understand that. But I do feel that this is needed. We do need to give attention to the things that are happening, especially with Diablo Immortal. But also, like a game Battlefield 2042, a game that was rushed out. Fallout 76, another game that was rushed out. It's not just players that are suffering, it's the developers behind the scenes. They are rushing. They are being overworked, and what's being produced is something that they know could be much better, but they're not given the time. And the reason why they're not given the time is because of money. It's the greed that is happening in this industry, and it is getting worse and worse with time. And I think people are getting normalized to this behavior, and it is kind of scary because I think we're getting close to a point in which what's happening in mobile gaming will eventually hit PC and console gaming. That's why myself, at least, I will continue to cover this how I have. I'm going to call out the BS whenever I see it, and yes, I understand I'm not going to be positive about everything, but you'll hear me, especially on Twitter. I hope you do follow me on Twitter. I talk about God of War Ragnarok, I talk about the games that I'm excited about, and there's a lot of cool stuff on the horizon, and I hope that we can talk more about that in the future. But for now, games like Diablo Immortal, games like Fallout 76, games like Battlefield 2042, the issues with those experiences, the nonsense that is happening has to be called out. And it's not just myself. I'm honestly grateful for all the other content creators and even the gaming outlets that do that themselves. But I do want to thank all of you for this journey we've had the last number of years, and I hope you are here with me for the next, I don't know how many more years, but I do appreciate all of the support you guys give, all of the subscriptions, all of the likes, everything. I do check out the comments as much as I can. But again, and most importantly, as I'm recording at 5 a.m. here on the East Coast, thank you. And I will end this video with my typical outro, asking what are your thoughts on the topics that we discussed today. Let me know down in the comment section below. But thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or if you found any informative value. And make sure to follow my other social media accounts for updates on new videos. Links are always down in the description below. I'm most active on Twitter, giving opinions on news that I do not always get into video form, so do make sure to follow me over there. Also check out my Discord for all sorts of discussion on games. And again, thank you for joining. Consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later. And I'll probably get some sleep now.